Greetings. We're continuing our work with the juice bar case study and the AnyLogic model to analyze it. In our previous clip, we discussed the construction of the model, and I did point out that it's a generic model that's going to allow us to analyze the 4 or 5, maybe 6 different scenarios that are needed to come to a conclusion about this juice bar case study. And therefore, perhaps a little bit, more elaborate or complex than initial work with AnyLogic software would likely allow. Nevertheless, I think you'll see that once you've seen these ideas, they become more accessible. We're going to start by looking at the current setup, which features 2 human servers, each providing approximately normally distributed service with a mean of 40 seconds and a standard deviation of 20 seconds. Each server has a line form in front of them, and they are Poisson arrivals at the rate of 65 per hour for these 2 lines. So 2 lines, each Poisson arrivals, each 65 per hour. So there's a total of 130 per hour coming at the juice bar overall. It's good traffic. So the system is actually set up for that. I'm going to just point out some of the key things that you'd want to check to verify that we are set up. So that arrival rate is 65. There is 1 human server there for the human servers, and the times are either normal with a mean of 40 and a standard deviation of 20, or 50 if it's a juice bot. But there are no juice bots, right? The capacity of the juice bots is 0, and the capacity of the human servers currently 1, as you can verify there in the panel. All right, so perhaps the key button to get all this going is this green thing here. We're going to go ahead and run that. It starts the experiment. If there are error messages, they will appear now. Somewhere down here, I'll see a red error message, and you can click on that and debug. So that would be a typical experience for the construction of a new model. All right, so this thing is running very slowly, and you can adjust the speed. I'm going to run this one a little bit just so that you can observe these things completing here. This is an estimate of how utilized that 1 human server is. There is just 1 person there, and that they are actually not utilized yet. So I'm going to just crack this up a little bit. And you can see that there is stuff flowing through the system, and there are some executions. These were the waiting times in line of the first 2 customers. And sometimes they don't wait, but sometimes they do. So you can see 12 people or 13 people have completed the process. Now, for the free personal learning edition, there's a limit of 50,000 agents. And so I've actually gone ahead and I'll just go back to our model and just show you. I put a cap on that. Go back to where I create the customers. I'm giving a maximum number of arrivals of just 1 less than that, 49,999, just so I don't get an error message. I probably won't get it if I had 50,000 in there, but just to be sure, I made it 49,999. Okay, so we can run this a little faster, and you can see how the mean wait time in the line, this is 33 seconds, 34 seconds. You can speed it up, factor of 2, 5, 10, and so forth. I'm going to make it 500 times the speed. You can click on the toolbar here to see where you are in time. And in fact, you could even put terminate the simulation over here. I want to run it all the way out to 50,000 because I want to get the sort of the longest possible run and get my estimates off of that. So the waiting time in the system's about 100-some seconds, and the waiting time in the line is about 60 seconds. Now, we can just go ahead and execute this thing all the way to the end by fast forwarding, and you'll see it runs all the way out. And you can see that I've got a W sub Q here, 67, and a waiting time in the line of 107. All right, so that is our first simulation run. Now, because there are random number generators at work here, it's going to be necessary to run this model multiple times. I'm going to run it 3 times for you. So just remember these 67 and 107. We go back to our model. and you go to the project panel, and we go to simulation main. And you'll see there's a section here called randomness. And what I want to do is I want to change the fixed seed just to any other number. I'll just say 1 or 10, whatever, just something different from 3, and we can run it again. And the exercise is going to be repeated in the free personal learning edition. We don't get this option, as far as I know, to automate this process at multiple runs. If you have the paid version, that's a different situation, and you can get all of the runs done without having to go through this manual restart. Okay, so I'm going to complete it now. So it was 67,107, now it's 66,106, and of course change. And I'm going to run it one more time. Let's make it a 2 now, and just run it again. And the emphasis here is, that we really need multiple runs, because you can see there is some variation. And based on this variation, I can get a sigma for, the variation of W sub Q or W sub S across the different runs. And from that, I'm able to construct confidence intervals. So we'll do one more. So this is, you can see how variable it is, 65,105. So we learned something here. Trusting that initial 67,107, that those would be conservative numbers. Maybe the picture, in fact, is a little better. Of course, 67,107 is a possible outcome. It could even be worse, but it can get as good as 65,105 based on our limited evidence here. Okay, so that is our first scenario. I'm going to do one more scenario in this clip. We're going to look at the training. Now, the training involves a 60% reduction in the standard deviation of the workers. So it's a consistency type training. They're not going to improve the average service time, but they'll just be kind of more together, more consistent if they do the training. And so the way to analyze this is to go into the juice prep and to change this standard deviation. So again, this specification here gives us the distribution of the service time if a human is providing service, and then the 50 is if a bot is providing service. And it's normal, standard deviation, comma mean, unusual, but that's what it is. And so if I have a 60% reduction in the standard deviation, it'll go from 20 and down to 8. All right, and so now we're ready, and we would execute our 3 runs for this setup also. So I'm just going to run it one time for you, but you'd really have to do it 3. Collect the data from each run, you generate your confidence interval and so forth, and you'd get an answer. Now, we had previously 67,107. We're expecting to see lower numbers because there's less variance, and happily that is the case. So now we're at 54,94. Because of substantially less volatility in the service times, and that just helps out the waiting times. Okay, so those are the first 2 scenarios, the baseline scenario, the current setup, and we've analyzed what happens if we train the human servers. We'll come back and look at the pooling and other options in subsequent clips.